Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Rhea Ripley is not only the women's world champion, but one of the most valuable and marketable stars in the division. Now that she holds the gold once again, quite a few women have their eyes on her. Raquel Rodriguez recently reflected on her history with Rhea Ripley, which dates back to their days in NXT. In 2023, the two locked horns several times over the belt. She is a current member of the Judgment Day, while Ripley broke out as a huge star from the group. In a recent interview for Casual Conversations with the Classic, Raquel Rodriguez broke character to discuss Rhea Ripley. Rodriguez noted that the Eradicator is like a sister to her off-screen. But the thing about sisters is, they fight a lot. Rodriguez further called Ripley knowledgeable and creative despite being a very young athlete. She credited these qualities as the reason why the Eradicator gets to run the show today. As the face of the division this Saturday, Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley is set to defend her title against Nia Jax. The match was made official after the two got into an altercation backstage and then later in the ring. It appears Jax will stop at nothing to reclaim the top spot of the women's division, irrespective of which brand she is part of. As of this writing, however, the irresistible force remains on SmackDown, unaffected by the transfer window. On the other hand, the former Judgment Day star just won the belt back from Liv Morgan. With a behemoth like Nia Jax in her way, Rhea Ripley's reign is in jeopardy. Saturday night's main event will air live from Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas at 8:00 p.m. ET, 5:00 p.m. PT, and 6:30 m. IST. In the high-stakes world of professional wrestling, rivalries are the lifeblood of the industry. They fuel the passion of fans, provide endless entertainment, and offer compelling stories that drive the momentum of the product. No rivalry in WWE is ever quite the same. Each one is distinct in its own right, with unique dynamics, unpredictable turns, and moments of unforgettable drama. But there's one rivalry that stands above the rest in terms of intensity, passion, and sheer physicality. Rhea Ripley and her fiercest rival for months, the two women have battled in and outside of the ring, each trying to prove they are the dominant force in WWE. And while fans have seen incredible matches and brutal confrontations between them, one thing remains certain: their issues will never end. In an exclusive interview, Rhea Ripley's rival opens up about the history of their conflict, why it's far from over, and what the future holds for the two of them. The origins of the rivalry. The roots of Rhea Ripley and her rival's animosity can be traced back to their first encounter in WWE. Both women are incredibly talented, but their paths to prominence have been vastly different. Ripley, a powerhouse with a punk rock aesthetic, emerged as a dominant force in NXT, quickly capturing the NXT Women's Championship and earning recognition as one of the best in the business. Her rival, on the other hand, took a more traditional path, building a reputation on her technical prowess and impeccable in-ring skills. Initially, the two women had a level of mutual respect for each other's abilities. They shared a competitive spirit that could have blossomed into a partnership or friendly rivalry. But that respect didn't last long. It all started with a sudden and brutal attack. Rhea Ripley had just successfully defended her title in a hard-fought battle, exhausted but victorious. Her rival, seeking to make a name for herself, blindsided her after the match, sending a clear message: "I'm coming for you, Ripley." The attack was vicious, unprovoked, and left Ripley bloodied and bruised in the ring. From that moment on, the rivalry would escalate to new heights, and the two would find themselves on a collision course that would dominate WWE programming for years to come. The rival's perspective: this will never end. When asked about the origins of their issues, Ripley's rival was direct and unapologetic. "It's simple," she began, her voice calm but filled with an unmistakable edge. "Rhea Ripley is a bully. She's always been this dominant, untouchable force in the company, and people look at her like she's untouchable, but I'm here to tell you, she's not. I'm not going to sit back and let her run wild while everyone praises her for her badass persona. I'll never be her sidekick, I'll never let her dictate the pace of this industry. That's why I'm doing this. For Ripley's rival, this is more than just a wrestling feud, it's a personal mission. I'm not here to just win a championship, she continued. I'm here to put Rhea Ripley in her place. I'm going to expose her for what she is. The world doesn't need another dominant champion who doesn't respect anyone. It needs someone who can actually fight, who isn't afraid to make things personal, and who is willing to go to any lengths to win. And that's exactly what I'm doing. The intensity in her eyes was palpable. It was clear that this rivalry had become a consuming obsession for Ripley's rival. People are going to say whatever they want to say about me, they're going to call me a villain, a monster, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, because in the end, when the dust settles, I'll be the one standing tall, and Ripley will be the one who's forgotten. The escalation of violence. As the rivalry grew, the stakes became higher, and the physicality more intense. The attacks became more frequent and more brutal, with both women trading punishing blows and outsmarting each other at every turn. The once respected boundaries of sportsmanship faded, and the line between friend and foe blurred. What started as a series of in-ring battles quickly escalated into personal vendettas. At one point, Ripley's rival invaded Ripley's personal space, showing up unannounced at her training sessions, taunting her as she prepared for big matches. The mind games were just as important as the physical ones, and each woman found herself using every possible advantage to gain the upper hand. I know Rhea Ripley, her rival said with a smirk. She's arrogant, she thinks she can take on anyone, and she's used to people backing down in fear, but I'm not afraid of her. I know exactly how to get under her skin, I know how to make her feel vulnerable, and I'm not going to stop until she's broken. The personal attacks. What truly separated this rivalry from others was the personal animosity between Ripley and her rival. While many wrestlers find themselves in conflicts due to championships or glory, the issues between these two women went far beyond competition. They became a reflection of everything the WWE represents: power, betrayal, respect, and personal pride. Ripley's rival was unrelenting in her efforts to break Ripley down mentally. The constant verbal jabs and taunts from her rival pushed Ripley to the edge. She taunted Ripley about her past, about the sacrifices she had made to get to the top, and about the persona she had built. But Ripley, while outwardly tough, carried her own internal struggles. The constant pressure and the weight of her past would eventually catch up to her. The rival saw these weaknesses and seized upon them. It wasn't just about wrestling anymore. It was about trying to destroy Ripley mentally, trying to make her doubt her own abilities and questioning whether she was truly worthy of being champion. Ripley was no longer just fighting for her title, she was fighting to hold onto her identity. It's easy to tear someone down when they don't know who they are, her rival said coldly. But once I've stripped Rhea Ripley of everything that she's built, she'll have nothing left. The turning point, the no-holds-barred match. The rivalry reached its boiling point when WWE announced that the two women would face off in a no-holds-barred match at the upcoming pay-per-view. No rules. No limits. Just pure, unbridled violence. The stakes were higher than ever. Ripley had grown tired of her rival's antics and wanted nothing more than to put an end to the madness. But her rival had other plans. For her, this match was the culmination of everything she had worked for. She wasn't going to settle for a simple victory. She was going to break Ripley body and soul. The match itself was nothing short of brutal. Both women took things to extremes, using steel chairs, ladders, and kendo sticks to punish each other. The crowd was on the edge of their seats, unsure who would come out on top. There was no hesitation, no mercy, just two warriors fighting for supremacy. In the end, it was Ripley's rival who emerged victorious, though it came at a great cost. She had done what she set out to do, physically and mentally dismantle Ripley. But as she stood over her fallen rival, there was no celebration. There was only the cold realization that this feud was far from over. The future, an endless cycle. After the no-holds-barred match, Ripley's rival was adamant that this was not the end of their issues. "This is just the beginning," she said, as she looked ahead to what was sure to be an even more intense chapter in the rivalry. I've won the battle, but the war, it's far from over. Ripley herself has not spoken much since the brutal match. She has remained silent, perhaps reflecting on the toll that the rivalry has taken on her. But one thing is certain, Ripley will not let this be the final chapter in her story. She will rise again, as she always has, to face her rival and prove once and for all who the true dominant force in WWE really is. As for her rival, she remains as confident as ever. "I've been saying it from the start," she declared. "This will never end. Rhea Ripley and I are on a collision course that will continue until one of us is left standing, and mark my words, when it's all said and done, I'll be the one standing over her, because I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down." And so, the saga continues. Rhea Ripley and her rival's issues may seem like they've reached a conclusion, but the truth is, they are far from over. In the world of professional wrestling, where egos are as large as the arenas they perform in, it's clear that their rivalry is a force that will never be extinguished, and as long as there's a ring to fight in, and a crowd to cheer, Rhea Ripley and her rival will continue to wage war. They may not know when or how it will end, but one thing is for sure, when it does, it will be a spectacle for the ages. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.